prouder than you are. I mean, it's truly something to remark at, given the fact that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Oh
off.
no, I was just gonna say, given the fact that everybody else is selling, the progressive movement down the river, you've had conviction, you've been able to grow. It's something that we can look up at and admire and say these guys did it. It makes it more attainable for everyone else.
That's to be pointed out that the hill's rising.
We have to interrupt to give a shout out to Bobby Ballbags, one of the funniest, most insightful commenters, friend of show on my other channel. Bobby, you have now entered After Show Carnage. Let's get back to the clip.
It's just totally gone off a cliff as far as its quality. Do you have any observations about the way they've run your brand into the ground entirely?
It's weird. It feels weird. It feels weird. I gotta say. I mean, at this point, we've done Breaking Points longer than we did Rising, so it feels a little removed and distant. But especially for a while, it was so strange to have this thing that truly Sagar and I built, right? Like the concept of it, the approach.
They were so good on the hill. This is Krystal Ball, and she is partner of Sagar and Jetty. And they kind of do this good cop, bad cop, right guy, neocon-ish, but more based Sagar. I like him. I like Krystal Ball too. I disagree with her a lot recently. Her husband is whacked out, but she's better than Kyle is to me. If you don't know, she's married. I believe they're married, right? Married to the blonde one now, Kyle Kalinske. And this is on with the Vanguard. Let's hear what Krystal Ball's got to do. What does she call it out? Who is Krystal Ball of Breaking Points call it out on Vanguard this time? It might be Ana Kasparian.
The ideological, straight, like all of the radars, all of it, like we built. And then to have someone else mouthing the words like, what's on your radar? I'm like, what is this? This is so weird to have this like phantom ghost product out there. I guess the best thing I could say is it's a testament to the strength of the concept that it still exists to this day, even in like such a strange and bizarro world form. But I don't know. It is a weird thing. I have to confess, every once in a while I'll go and check in like, what's going on over there? But
just laugh.
She's talking about the hill where she used to be at.
It's a pleasure. And one last thing I wanted to say to you guys, I know you sometimes like poke fun at yourselves for, being the drama channel or whatever, but if new media is now as powerful as it's being sold as being, there needs to be media critics. Like that's not looked down upon as a role when it's applied to mainstream press. So I don't think you guys should like deride the role that you're filling in the marketplace. It's important and it actually needs, it needs to be done and it takes courage to do it.
That's a great statement. I have no problem with the Vanguard. They run a really good show. They've had really good clips. These guys are hard workers. These guys work at their craft. You can tell to see how they've risen up from when they started. And you can tell by look at the guests they get. They get much respect. Emma Vigeland was on there. Krystal Ball is on there. I don't even know their names. And I've been watching them for quite a bit. I just know them as the Vanguard. But let's get back to the clip.
I really appreciate you saying that. Gavin and I, we have to, keep our heads from getting too big because we're so excited to not have day jobs. You know what I mean? So it's good to just, poke fun at ourselves and lean into the silly and Billy things, and, sometimes you just have to call that shit out. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share on your way out about?
It's interesting about their channel before she shares her final thoughts is it started out more nuanced and more micro level into the details. And then they grew into the drama. You see what you get views on and what you don't. So they adapted to the marketplace to find the balance so they can eat off of this. Much respect.
The miserable failure of the Young Turks and how they're blaming homeless people for fires and how Ana Kasparian has seemingly left the left and doesn't want anything to do with other left-wing channels. I know you have a working relationship with Cenk. We don't want to ask you to.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I almost got out of here without getting.
Man, I thought Gavin was going to ask, and I was like, well, let me just.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah,
No. What I will say is, to me, it's just disappointing. Like because we have so few voices that have any sort of platform and power. So to have, I think Ana and Cenk, I think they're both really talented. I think they've both been very important to the progressive movement. And so it's just one of my like disappointments of this moment that they're not leading the charge alongside everybody else. So I guess that's my short summary of how I feel about it.
Well, and so now as an interviewer, you've got to dig deeper. So the Vanguard's like, hey, Krystal, we have to ask the question. We like you. We don't want to cause any beef between you and Cenk or anybody else. But You know, you called us the drama channel. We got to figure out where's the tea, how you feel about the left. I left the left gig and, you know, all that stuff that they're doing. And it looked like Krystal Ball had some feelings that she wanted to get out.
I mean, it's just disappointing. Like, because we have so few voices that have any sort of.
So now after she says it's disappointing, as an interview, and they do really good job interviewing. It's not easy doing this. And they're gonna follow up. They're not gonna let that go.
No, I totally agree. And I think more than anything, you know, beyond the personalities involved, Cenk, Anna, whatever, it's just indicative to me of the retreat of this online left energy that was so aggressive when I first started tuning in back in 2014, 15. It's almost, you know, unrecognizable to see these people now and the way they talk versus the way they did then.
Totally. And to make a sort of broader point, you know, outside of Cenk and Anna, moments like this are, you know, you're going to have people who like really step up, who really surprise you, and you're going to have people who disappoint you. And it's important to learn. It's important to take stock, right? Of who.
What's the theme when we always shift from the right? So as much as I said Vivek's not authentic, he got into at least under the surface level of censorship, for example, to the level that made sense for the audience and the time and the place. At this point, she says it's disappointing. What is disappointing? It's just her emotions. That's it.
Who was where and who said what and who did what. Because even though it feels like the Trump moment is like he's all powerful and it's going to last forever, like that's not true. We all know that there's going to be a backlash and there's going to be a shift back in the other direction. And a lot of people are going to pretend like they were, you know, there and allies all along. And, you know, it's just important. It's important to take note of who said what when it was difficult. Right. I feel the same way with like people who, you know, 10 years later were like, the Iraq war was really bad. It's like, well, I'm glad you got there, but what were you saying at the time when you were like, you know, cheerleading it and totally on board with it? You guys are too young that it was not even like a thing, but
or James Carville coming out now to say that Bernie Sanders was right.
Bernie was right. It's like, oh, great. But you also were
8 years ago.
When you were a primary opponent of it, like you were trashing him. So that's not all, you know, water under the bridge. But I think it's important to take stock of who's where right now.
Thank you, Krystal. Sorry to snipe you at the end.
Oh, no. And thank you so much for the kind words about our show and the role that we play. It really does mean a lot that you view our show that way. And you know, we really appreciate it. Like we said.
I'm a fan. I watch you guys. I enjoy it. So
that's crazy.
So here's my takeaway from this one is the left emotions. That's what you see here with the kind of the drama stuff. It's not really drama, but it's drama-ish. But then you go and look at how it plays out in real life. KJ had his confirmation hearing today, and it goes from this type of drama that doesn't have any substance, doesn't really have much meaning, to something that is meaningful to me, at least. And that is healthcare. So Krystal Ball is she purports herself to care about healthcare and wants healthcare coverage for everyone in the United States, probably even illegals. Bernie Sanders says that as well. So Bernie Sanders has a chance to talk to RFKJ about healthcare. And I'm going to show you how that emotion, same energy as Krystal Ball, plays out. And Krystal Ball would support. I guarantee you, I haven't heard her take on this. I guarantee you, Krystal Ball is clapping like a baby seal over Bernie Sanders doing this. And I'm going to tell you why it's stupid.
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Healthcare a human right? Is healthcare a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right, I would say it's different because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything. But in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. And so are you guaranteed the same right or your duty?
I'm sorry. I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here. All right. Every other country on earth says healthcare, whether you're poor or rich, young or old, is a human right. I'm not hearing you say that. All right. You've talked about the drug companies, and maybe we.
So I'm gonna go through this one more time just to see. And Bobby Ballbag says a woman in politics, especially on the left, really only thinks through her emotions? No way. No. Yeah, that is a cringe cliche. I mean, that's like an obvious take. But even the men, obviously, there's another cliche. Of course, the men on the left are equally as emotional. And then another take, they're mostly rainbows. Yes, yes. But I do want to show this is how it plays out. Look at the problems with this. Let me run this back and stop it this time. So the question before this clip is, RFKJ, Bobby, is healthcare a human right? What? Why is that the question? The question should be, should we have healthcare coverage for every? Those are two different questions.
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Healthcare a human right? Is healthcare a human right?
Well, first of all, yes, you can give a yes or no. What do you mean you can't give a yes or no? This isn't one of those questions where, why wouldn't he be able to? He's running for the head of the Health and Human Services. So I would think it would be very on point to answer that question. Is healthcare, ask me, is healthcare a human right? No, it's not a human right. Do I believe every American should have healthcare of some level of basic healthcare coverage? Yes. Those are two different questions. Okay, he didn't have the cojones. I don't know if all the supplements and the testosterone, allegedly, whatever the hell he's taking to turn himself into looking like that at his age, and he's working hard too at it, don't get me wrong, it must have shrunk his cojones, because what I'm seeing here is you don't have the cojones to answer the question. Bernie, no. The answer is no. And think about it. Human right, that's basically what you put in the Bill of Rights. That's basically what we basically are saying. Here are the human rights. We can only control America. We only care about America. America says these 10 things are human rights. The Second Amendment, that's why the Second Amendment isn't just about some state militia or the government's right to regulate. It's about your right, obviously. I mean, James Madison is rolling over in his grave seeing people argue over this, thinking like, what the hell? We're living in the stupidest country in the world. It's the Bill of Rights for the people, not the government. First Amendment, free speech. Second Amendment, self-defense. Basic things here. Speedy trial, all that kind of stuff, all basic things. Is healthcare do you have a right to own a car? No, you don't. Should every U.S. citizen have a car? No, you shouldn't have a car. The government shouldn't have to give you a car. Should every American have health care? Yeah, I do think that that's a fair argument. I mean, if you disagree, I think that's a fair argument too, but that's where we're at. And RFK, so you see the motion of the left. The emotion of the left is to ask the emotional question. They don't care about healthcare. They want you to say it's a human right more than even having it.
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Healthcare a human right? Is healthcare a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right?
Yeah.
I've been using tiny hat Bobby ball bags. This is our RFKJ still wrapping up on the Krystal Ball, Ana Kasparian, to something from more drama to the tangible part of it. I need something more than, I've been saying, I need more than dreidel country, dreidel man, tiny hat. I got it. Bagel man. Bagel man is just trying to oust RFK, and RFK is fine with that. He's fine with that country anyway.
I would say it's different because if with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool.
Well,
and so
if his answer is bad, because that's what we do with all taxes. I don't want my taxes going to many things, but they do, to people who do all kinds of things, but they do. So that's not really the answer to me. The answer is, the question, remember, is not should we have health care for all. The question is it a human right? And that's a whole different thing. A human right to speak, yeah, that's what we can. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, yes. But the right to have health coverage, no, because if you do that, then you have the right to have housing. You have the right to have a computer. It won't end beyond that. So let's get back to the clip.
Are you guaranteed the same right? Or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry. I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here. All right. Every other country on earth says healthcare, whether you're poor or rich, young or old, is a human right. I'm not hearing you say that. All right. You've talked about the drug companies, and maybe
So you see how he followed up with human right, not with, I think we should have health care. Then the other elephant in the room is, did you ask Joe Biden? Did you ask Kamala Harris? Did you ask any of them? Believe it or not, Donald Trump in 60 Minutes, in a 60 Minutes interview in 2018, actually was based. Trump was based. I don't have that clip prepared. I have an account where I actually brought it up, but I could probably find it real quick. It's a short clip from 60 Minutes where he said, yeah, I believe in healthcare, and before whoever got to him changed his mind. Somebody got to him and changed his mind. Clearly, he went from saying universal healthcare to not. This is a young, from 2017, Francesca Fiorentini, and I think she's about to play the clip here. And I'll end with this.
Can still salvage his presidency. All he has to do is follow his heart when it comes to healthcare and do what he's been saying he wants for years.
I believe in universal healthcare.
So there it is. Just listen to it again. There's Donald Trump. This is when that was 1999. He said it again in 2015, I believe.
In universal healthcare, I believe in whatever it takes to make people well and better.
Yeah, Trump believes in universal healthcare, and we have even more evidence.
Even as good as Trump is running a great presidency so far, I'm not talking about the policies, whether you like them or not, just from a standpoint of efficiency, Elon Musk is really running it, but Trump gets the credit for it. But it's not as based as this Trump.
What's your plan for Obamacare? So how do you fix it?
There's many different ways, by the way. Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say, because a lot of times they say, no, the lower 25%, they can't afford private. But
universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of much better than they're taken care of now.
Uninsured person
right
is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
I would make a deal with existing hospitals to take care of people. And you know what? This is probably...
Make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side. But for the most part, it's going to be a private plan. People are going to be able to go out and negotiate great plans with lots of different competition, lots of competitors with great companies, and they can have their doctors, they can have their plans, they can have everything.
This Trump was more authentic. This Trump was more himself. This Trump was more base. He kind of looks like Barron there, obviously his son.
I believe in universal healthcare. I believe in whatever it takes to make people well and better.
Yeah.
That's Donald Trump in his own words.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.